from the dung heap, everybody. These are my friends. A lot of
Hi,
them.
friends.
There he is. Hi, sweetie.
Hello. Good morning, everybody.
And we're live. Hello. SPTV. Hello. Hi, everybody. Happy Sunday. Fun Day Sunday, or Fundy Sunday, as in Fundamental Sunday. Hi, good to see you all coming in. While you're coming in, I just want to say hello to some people that I see here. Candy's Life, hi there. Great to see you. Stasia, hi there. My fabulous mods are here, some of them at least. I appreciate you all. Mischief Managed and George Massey, I see so far. Hi there. Great to see you. Carrie J, our lawyer friend, Carrie J. Got your pancakes and you're ready. All right. Can't come without pancakes. Oh, who else we got here? Everybody saying hi to each other. Staceberia, here you are. Hi, sweetie. Thank you for modding. Our friend Joel McCoy is here. Awesome. Saying hi while people are coming in. Maria from Greece, I think. Hi there. And we got Body Illusion. Awesome. And Marina. Hi, Marina. Kathy Scoggins. I love it. Reporting for Cubtology. Awesome. Yeah, you're all my Cubs, but if you want to join, there's a link. I think it's right in the description of here, and you get lots of emojis and all that for $2.99 a month if you're interested. But you're all my Cubs. I love it. Cubtology. Hey, pizza! Eat more pizza now. Great to see you, Susan P. Hi there. We got Jersey Jan. Hey, Jersey Jan. So glad you're here. Farrell Cheryl. Hi there. I was watching you last night. I was lurking while you were in Clearwater. I love watching you. I know that sounds stalkerish. Like, I always feel like somebody's watching me. Ain't got no privacy. Anyways, I'm watching you, Farrell Cheryl. Kate DeLay. Hi there. James Steele. Thank you for being here. I always say, I have no idea how to say this, but I always say Lena in love. Hey, Lena in love. I think are you in the Arctic Circle or something? If I recall, you're somewhere cold. Duncan would love it there, that's for sure. Atkins in Texas has their coffee. Awesome. I have tea. I already had my coffee today. I realized I needed to caffeine up majorly because yesterday I couldn't put two sentences together. I could barely put a word together. Oh, I was kind of embarrassed. I was like, I am never watching that replay. And Duncan didn't see it. So I was like, if you watch that replay, let me know because I don't want to hear it. Thank you for the chat rules. Yes. No hate speech, derogatory remarks, spamming. Also, I would definitely put a trigger warning today. We're going to talk about some heavy things. We've got, talking about cults and coercive control and trauma and all kinds of recovery type things. And, whenever you're talking about those things, sometimes you can be triggered. And I honestly, just even the word forgiveness sometimes would be triggering to me. So I want to talk about that. And, we're gonna talk about fundamentalism. It's Fundy Sunday. We'll talk about Scientology and all the things. Yeah. So, hey, Love Muffin. I'm gonna start calling Stace Love Muffin. She really is. And she's awesome. She's so funny. I love waking up to all my mods chatter. It's so cool because they're just all over the place, the globe, and all over the place with the comments too. All Cubs need a pancake. Absolutely. I hear something outside. Big truck. We're not too close. We're not too far from the road, I should say. Like a secondary highway, all kinds of stuff. Sort of like, you ever watch the Pet Cemetery movie? It's like that. Scary. Very scary. Got to be careful around that road. Ooh, what else we got? Oh, everybody's chatty today. Saying hi to each other. Thank you for the trigger warning. Yes, Jersey Jan. Yeah, perfect. Thank you so much. It's not cold. It's cool. in Arctic. Oh, Love Islands, Norway. Oh, you're in Norway. That's right. Right. I mean, good morning. Well, it's afternoon and what time is it? It's afternoon, right? In Europe. And then in Australia, I think it's the next day. Pretty sure. It's like probably the middle of the night. It's like, yeah. So it would be, I think, like maybe 14 or so hours ahead. Swedish Lena, hi there. Great to see you. Glad you're here. Aw, I love that. Stasia, I'm here as a listening ear. I have big shoulders you all can use. Yeah, I love that. I love this chat. Everybody can be comfortable, just talk about all the things. I love it. Joe McCoy, I had a tough day yesterday. I had to take the car away from my 98-year-old parents. Oh, it was a fight, but it had to happen. 98. Wow. Wow. Yeah, I bet it was hard to let go of the car, I'm sure. Yeah, well, my heart goes out to you and your parents, and I'm glad they have such a kind son that is taking care of them and watching out for them. But I'm sure it's hard to give up their independence. Absolutely. Yes, you did the right thing. You did do the right thing. I agree. Melissa Harris, it's 11:10 p.m. in Perth, Australia. Oh, so it's still it's not like the middle of the night. Okay. Thank you. You know what's funny? I have a friend named Melissa Harris. Well, maybe I have two friends now named Melissa Harris. Yeah, I grew up with somebody named Melissa Harris, and she's a sweetheart. Yeah, that's a rough one. I know you can understand that. Pearl Cheryl had to do that to my dad. It was hard on both of us. Yeah, it's a sacrifice for both. Absolutely. Eat more pizza now. Always forgive if asked for forgiveness, but never forget. Yeah, yeah. It's a tough one, isn't it? It really is a tough subject today. Um, But, we'll work through it, and there's a lot of nuances. Forgiveness is just like a blanket thing. There's different types of forgiveness. I looked it up because, whenever I'm wondering about something, I Google it and was like, maybe I'll get some information, a different perspective, something to help me understand, another angle of it. So yeah, I was looking up and there was like the 3 S's to forgiveness, the 3 C's, the 4 steps and the 3 types, and you get all these formulas. But I did go through that, and I did glean some things so that I want to share with you. But first, I would like to read something um, very timely, very poignant, and if you haven't seen it, this is on Miriam Francis Wall. It's Rage Against the Dark Arts is her channel, and from what I gather, we've been talking about Linkin Park and their new band member, Emily Armstrong, Emily Armstrong, who was born into the Sea Org. She's a Scientologist, still a Scientologist in good standing, as far as I know. And from what I can gather from Miriam's community page, she was in the Cadet Org, or the whatever, a camp, some type of ranch, I think it's called. I'm not sure if it was the pack ranch, but she went to school or was in some type of facility with Emily. And so I just want to read this because I just thought it was so well written. It is basically an open letter to Emily. And yeah, I thought it was amazing. So let me just read that for you. Mm. Okay, so it says 7 hours ago. Dear Emily, You and I came from the same place where we were orphaned by parents absent in their addiction to a quote, great cause. In this place of childhood neglect, we forged bonds, made each other laugh, and found the fun in things as young kids tend to do. What we experienced was abnormal, inhumane, and difficult to describe, but we tried to make the best of a terrible thing. Emily, you were always a burst of energy with a big grin and unruly hair. As a child, you had a strong sense of self despite the chaos around you. And when you were able to, you saved yourself. Not only did you survive, but you achieved your dreams. And that makes me so fucking happy and proud. Every time one of us succeeds, it's a powerful testament to our resiliency and, in many ways, our shared strengths. Now we're grown, and a very important conversation has arisen regarding your support of Danny Masterson and your continued association with Scientology. I was hopeful that this would be a great opportunity for you to make a statement, but then you put out your Insta story, and I was disappointed. I hope you will make another effort to address these important issues more fully. On September 18th, 2020, the day you arrived at the arraignment hearing, just a few months after the arrest had been issued on Danny Masterson for 3 counts of forcible R word, you said you had been asked to support him. Who asked you? And did that person tell you why they wanted you there? Or did you already know, having been raised on Hubbard's words like I was? Did you already know that Danny Masterson's victims were the enemy? That by pursuing legal justice, they were in actual fact attempting to destroy Scientology? When you went to court that day, did you feel that you were not just supporting your friend, but protecting your religion? Is that because you knew that in our religion, we never report crimes to outside authorities like Hubbard told us? Your group was so large that the court had to take time to shuffle people about due to COVID distancing, which led to many of you having to stand outside. And in that courtroom on that day, Danny's defense team filed a demurrer to get the case dismissed, which delayed proceedings for another month. You said that you empathize with victims of these crimes, but do you know what that day felt like for the victims of Danny Masterson's crimes? Do you know what it feels like to be a victim of rape and have the people around you who you thought were your friends turn on you, disparage you, silence you, threaten and harass you, lie about you, and then gather together like a mob and stand next to your rapist? Or to be surrounded and intimidated by those same people inside the court building? Do you know what it took for those women to keep pushing ahead, keep showing up every day as they needed to, ac- across a preliminary hearing and 2 entire criminal trials? To live every day knowing that the future is uncertain, that any moment justice could fail them? Damn it. Do you know how much strength it would have taken for them to just be there that day, the 18th of September, 2020? They were up against a machine that was trying to destroy them. You are part of that machine. You are accountable for that. I would love to hear if you're still a Scientologist because we can talk about that next. Emily, you have the opportunity. You have a voice. Many of us never got the chance. I hope you use your powers for something good. And it says at Lincoln Park, hashtag no more kids in Scientology. And there's another picture. And that's her. That was Emily's post on Instagram. Yeah, I thought that was so good to read. I'm like speechless now. I I commented on this community page post and just said that I can't remember exact words, but I was just so impressed with Miriam's ability to, even after all she's gone through, to open her heart and have compassion while still being tough as nails. Because we all know that Miriam Francis, who was an SA, victim as a child and has gone through so much trying to seek justice for the crimes that were against her, that were perpetrated against her, and she's still just such a person of grace, and she is really, really tough. And I think she hit the nail on the head. And talking about resilience, all of these young and middle-aged adults that came out of that pack ranch, that came out of Scientology, the Sea Org, wherever that they were born into, they are amazing, and they definitely are resilient and just full of grace. So I just have so much respect for them. And I think that in a way, even though I had already planned on doing a stream on forgiveness, I thought it was pretty good springboard, because you look at all that they've been through and all the things that they've been pressured to do, like Emily. I do have compassion on her, but at the same time, I thought it was very well stated what Miriam said, because she laid the groundwork, but she also said, you are being held accountable here. You have an opportunity. You have an opportunity to speak out and speak up, you know, and there's really no reason that I can think of that should hold her back, even though I understand that there are many, it's complicated. It's complicated. But at the same time, the right thing to do would be to speak up. Okay, I am going to, yeah, she is amazing. Just going to start some of your comments as we go along. Yes, it was a very touching statement. Right. And there was no anger or bitterness. It was just very well said. So well laid out. Absolutely. I agree. Very amazing. Very well said. Miriam is a phenomenal and unstoppable force for good. Absolutely. Candy's life. I'm rewatching Serge's live stream from yesterday. Oh, I know. Well, that was very poignant. On my TV, between that and this letter, I'm even more heartbroken and angry about Emily Armstrong joining Lincoln Park. Yeah, I hear you. A lot of people that are upset. Mhm. See, we got some more people coming in. Diana Santos, hi there. Joe DeSeppo, hi there, Joe. Great to see you. I wonder if she'll alienate everyone in the, everyone like Chick Corea. His band members got sick of him trying to push Scientology on them all the time. That's a good point. That's a good point. Because I think, isn't the whole reason for the whole celebrity center setup was to bring in celebrities so that they could proselytize other celebrities and bring people in, you know? I think that's what their hopes were for a lot of celebrities, including Tom Cruise, but I haven't seen, that many people. Oh, am I buffering? I think it's you. Okay, I'm not. I'm surprised that it's not me. I'm surprised. Yeah, so I'm just going up. Vicky at the warehouse. You were fine yesterday. I'd be tripping all over my words continuously if I had to try to do this. I said to my husband this morning, I said to Duncan, I'm like, I can't believe, because I was trying to tell him something, and I'm like, oh, I guess I have to like go to the beginning and explain the whole thing. And I'm like, I can't believe that most days, a lot now, every other day at least, I'm on YouTube saying words and trying to make sense. I can't believe I do that, because a lot of times I can't even find the words or even, say them. So, but you all are so patient with me, and I really, really appreciate that. Yeah. Oh, your father's blind, Joel. I'm so sorry. Well, you definitely did the right thing. Absolutely. Oh, we got more people coming in. Hey, Cricket Cinema. Good to see you. Diana, Clearwater Chat. Hey, Chatto. Great to see you. Cece, hi there. Good to see everybody coming in. All right. Trying to catch up again here before I get into my notes. starting some more things. All right. Comment. Okay. Yeah, if it helps if you put comment and question, because then I can just catch them as I go along. Awesome. Okay. I heard someone yell, power. Oh, power lies are paralyzed. Hi there. Bishop manage power. That's great. Okay. Marina, Miriam always responds with such elegance and grace. Absolutely. CC, Marilyn, I need 13 more subs to go live. This makes me feel blown up, ready to burst. Oh, okay. CC, I'm not sure what your channel is, but if the mods can pick it up, sure, we can have people check it out. Saysperia, have you smacked the like button with your trusty spatula? Yes. I feel like I should have a spatula in here with me. Go on, do it now. Zeno commands you. You know you want to. Or you can hit the unlike. I know I got haters watching too. So it's all good. It's all part of the YouTube ecosystem, right? Maria, I have to make coffee. Finish. Oh, slept 6 hours in 2 days. I feel you. I've done that. Yeah, way too many times. More times than I'd like to admit. Yep. Well, get some coffee, but then later on, take a nice nap because that's probably what I'll do. Joe McCoy comment, it takes a lot of inner strength to face the demons of the past. All who have done it show how strong they are. We must celebrate them. Yeah. Yeah, it does take a lot of inner strength. Carrie J, I think that this situation really highlights the discussion about whether victims can also be perpetrators. And if so, what does that mean? Yeah, that's a really good point. And it does really go along with this theme. And also yeah, thinking maybe doing a whole stream on that. I think that would be a really good discussion. Cricket Cinema, hey there. Question, did she keep her involvement in the cult from the band? People I work with have no idea if I practice any religion. Yeah, that might be true. I From what I heard, I can't remember which band member it was that she was pretty good friends with, but um he may have known about Scientology, but I doubt that they knew about her going to the hearing for Danny Masterson because and I would be willing to bet that they had something to do with her apology, quote apology, because that's really, you know, affecting them as well. Of course it would, you know. Melissa Harris trying to explain the Lincoln Park thing to my son. Yeah. Candy's like, haters, it's Sunday for crying out loud. Take a break. I don't know if they want a break because they might just be bored all the time, 24/7, you know? Had a very rude interruption in service. Oh, I have that all the time. I have no cell service here because we are that, deep into the boonies. And I was on the phone with somebody yesterday and I was talking and I realized the call had just dropped. And I was like, I'm sorry. I think they were in the middle of talking and it just dropped. And I was like, I didn't hang up on you. I promise. It's me. It's my internet because I don't have cell service. So it relies on internet. And now we have no landline. So yeah, gotta have internet. Hey, Dusty Soda Dispenser. Good to see you. Hi, Keela. Hi, sweetie. Good to see you this morning. Glad you're here. Someone's yelling, Opal. Hey, Mama. Hey, Mama Opal. Great to see you. So glad you're here. Subscriber number 38. Awesome. Okay, for CC. That was so nice of you. All right. I think I'm caught up. So I want to go through a few of my notes. And again, I want to state a trigger warning. And my trigger warning is twofold, or maybe multiple fold. But yeah, we're going to talk about some potential things that are traumatic that uh, I probably will share some things with you. You may be sharing things in the chat, um, things that you've struggled with forgiveness wise. And I feel like, oh, sorry, I'm just starting some more things. Um, yeah, I feel we'll talk about it, but I was thinking, there's things that in some ways I guess would be kind of unforgivable. So we can talk about that too. And we don't have to go into detail, but again, trigger warning on that. The other thing is I will be bringing up some kind of religious nuances, but I in no way am attacking anyone's religion, anyone's beliefs, Christianity as a whole. I'm just telling you what I was brought up in and how religion was used as a weapon, and um, as a way to control, and how scripture and Bible verses were taken out of context or to the extreme. And this is Fundy Sunday around here, so we talk about fundamentalisms, which is basically what my husband calls the letter of the law rather than the spirit of the law, right? So everything's word for word. And, you know, uh, in studying just Scientology in general, just knowing, I mean, not that I study it to join it, but in learning about Scientology, I can tell you, if it's not, I don't really consider it a religion, but it's definitely fundamentalism because it's fanatical. It's, LRH quote tech, you have to follow it word for word for word, or you're not doing it right. And I don't think there's any way you really can do it right, but that's another whole story. So, um, okay. I just want to tell you, first of all, what my understanding of forgiveness was growing up and what it is now. And please put comment or question if you have anything to add that you want me to read. I will absolutely star it because it's just me today giving my stars the day off. So, you might be familiar with a few scriptures, a few things that Jesus said. And if you look in a red letter edition Bible, it would be in red letters. And he talks about turning the other cheek. So if someone slaps you on, one cheek, you turn the other cheek and you let them slap you on the other cheek. There's another scripture. It's actually Matthew 18:21-22, the two verses, and I memorized this. I probably could recite it word for word, but it says, Peter asked Jesus. So Peter was one of the apostles and Jesus was the Lord. Peter asked Jesus, Lord, how many times shall I forgive my brother when he sins against me? Up to 7 times? And Jesus said, I tell you, not 7 times, but 77 times. And there was even I don't know if it was the King James or some translation that says 70 times 7. So that's right. That's even more. Yeah. But this says 77 times. Now, um, there's different types of forgiveness, which we'll be going into. And I was thinking, like, have I ever forgiven anyone 7 times? You know, let alone 77 times? Well, probably my kids. I think I say overlooked things in my hubby and my brothers and sisters and really, really close friends that I really love. If a relationship really matters to you, I think you tend to give them grace. I smile and kind of giggle a little bit about the grace thing because um it's become a little bit of a there there's certain words that kind of come in style, and lately, even in this space, I've heard a lot of, oh, we got to give them grace or have some grace or have a little grace. And I told the story the other day about a, a little boy who was closely related to me and my children by adoption. And his mom, who was also very closely related to me by adoption, was very, very adamant to me that it was basically okay for her child to just go around like hitting my children and actually drawing blood and clawing them. And not that it was okay, but it was like have some grace, because I'd get really, really upset. And I'd take my children and kind of sometimes I would leave her house or leave early, or, get really mad at her. And she's just like, you don't have any grace. You don't have any grace. And she put them in timeout. They were like 4 or 5. She put them in for 4 minutes, and then he'd run and just gleefully do it again. And back then we believed in spanking, which is the other extreme, which I don't believe in anymore. So that's, off the table as far as I'm concerned, of suggestions for her. But what she was doing was not working. And as a result, it really made our relationship suffer. And I just kept my children away from them. And, he's an adult now. He's great. He doesn't hit my children anymore. But it was a struggle for a while. But when this child, I'll call him Joey, when Joey was around maybe 8, 9, and Austin was a young teenager, probably 13, 14, we were at a family party, and Austin comes into the room. He had gone into the another room to play with all the little kids and stuff, and with all the cousins and everything. And he came out, and he had like a bear claw, like blood bear claw mark on his cheek. And I was like, and he comes over to me. He's like, Mom, it's okay. Don't flip out. It's okay. Um, Joey clawed me, but he's having a hard time. He's having a rough time, and he's upset about something. And it's not personal. And for a 13, 14-year-old to have that much, forgiveness and grace and understanding, I was just like, well, I guess I'll, chill out. And then his mom came up to me, and she was just like horrified. And I think everybody was looking at me like ready for me to go, what my kids call full Marilyn, um, go like full mama bear, because you don't hurt my kids like that. But I just looked at her, and I was like, don't worry about it. It happens, and it'll heal. It'll heal. And Austin's okay. You know, and I don't think I said like it's okay like that he did that, because that's another thing too, is when somebody does something bad, I tend to be like, "Oh, that's okay." It's not really okay. It's more like, "I forgive you," you know? So, it really opened up a dialogue, because I had been kind of avoiding this topic. I mean, this is, again, a close relative, so I, would be kind and cordial and talk to them, and, shoot the breeze or whatever. But, she actually called me the next morning and asked, some advice, or just opened up about the situation. And before that, she had never even really acknowledged that it was a problem. It was more like, well, oh, whatever, kind of thing. And so I think that was a good example for me of having grace, because it was a choice on Austin's part, and also my part. And I realized that I valued that relationship. So, I forgave, but I still was cautious after that. And I still was like, hey, watch out. I don't want you to get hurt again. But it was just an example for me. It was like not guilting me into, you have to forgive me. You have to overlook this. And which brings me to the triggers that I've had as an adult from my childhood. Was we were taught that adults, were over us, were authority over us, and God had chosen them as to be an authority, and it didn't matter what they did to you. You had to forgive them. And that's where this whole grace and anointing comes in. And this is where it gets very, very twisted. In my brand of Pentecostalism, there was a big emphasis on anointing. And if someone was chosen, it didn't matter. And there's a few examples in the Bible that you could bring up, that it's like, oh, well, this person was a terrible person, but God turned them around, or they were, they were anointed king, and even though they did bad things, they were still anointed by God. So people had to listen to them. So that was the attitude. And I'll give you an example. Um, when I was in the cult, like in the cult, very immersed in it, and even living there in the building, and Duncan can attest to this 100%. Marlene had 2 sons. Well, she had 2 sons and a daughter. Um, The sons were, one was just a very angry, mean, abusive person. And he could be nice at times, but he would just flip out and just, you know, berate everybody and just be so nasty. And Marlene had appointed him vice president of the board. And even though he wouldn't even come to church a lot of the times, he would abuse people. He was just kind of nasty, but then he could be really nice too, you know? And it was weird because she was like, well, he's appointed by God, so it kind of doesn't matter. So he got a free pass. He got grace. And we always had to look. It's funny, it's kind of a version of word clearing, like in Scientology. We would have to go through these lexicons and look up the Greek and Hebrew word for whatever we were, studying, right? And in grace, I can't even remember the word because with a ch or something. In the Greek lexicon, the definition of grace was unmerited favor. So we had to give unmerited favor to these abusive a-holes that were her sons. And the other one was even worse. He was, a drunk and a drug addict and a abuser and a cheater. I mean, he was just not a good person at all. And he would just he borrowed one of my cars and crashed it, and it was just like, I had to forgive him. I had to forgive him. And so, yeah, I felt like I didn't have a lot of actual practice in forgiveness, because it was more like, well, if something happens to you, it was probably God testing you, or God punishing you, or just, yeah, testing you to forgive them. But it was more like you had to. So I would just stuff it. I would just stuff it down, and I didn't know how to release it. So that's one thing that I'm still working through to this day. And I'll be honest, a lot of these talks, like I always say, a lot of these talks that I give are things that I'm working on myself, that I'm struggling with. And have I forgiven Marlene? No, I haven't. Should I? I don't think so. Um I I guess I've had to let go of the bitterness and the hurt, and a lot of times I just kind of joke about it because it makes me feel oh, how's the dung heap looking, by the way? Thank you, everybody that gave me some suggestions about the dung heap. I put some white cardstock behind it. Speaking of Marlene, and I actually shined a ring light on it, so you can see there's kind of like, it's shiny behind me. But yeah, so I like to joke about it because it makes me feel better instead of being like angry and bitter and all that. So I just wanted to run down just a couple of things that I had come across. And um you're not I don't believe anyone's obligated to absolve somebody or forgive them to the point where it's like, well, clean slate. You know, you can do that. You can do that. And if you value the relationship and it's worth working on, yes. But if it's a past abuser, um, like, I was, as a child, I was SA'd, never forgave that guy. And and I don't even know if he's still alive. I don't think he is, but I never forgave him. Um, But at one point, I had to come to terms with the hurt that it caused me, and I had to let it go, you know? So I think there was a difference, and things like therapy can really help in talking through it. And, um, I even am helped by talking to all of you because a lot of you can relate. Ugh. So, yeah, like I said, there's different things. If you look up forgiveness, there's all kinds of formulas and suggestions for it. There's one thing, there's the 3 R's of forgiveness. There's supernatural, which a lot of people feel that they need forgiveness from God and or from a higher power. And that's totally fine. I've asked forgiveness so many times. I think I've asked for forgiveness more than I've actually given forgiveness, because I always felt like in a lot of ways, pulled it in would be the Scientology term, but that I deserved it. Right. So, I just remember asking God, "Oh my God, please have mercy on me. I'm a sinner and all that," and just groveling and literally laying on the floor with my face on the floor, on the carpet, or on the hardwood floor, begging for forgiveness from God. Which I know is not like a mainstream religion or mainstream Christianity, tenet, but I would all the time because I was told to go and lay on my face and beg God for mercy. The other thing is, so it's supernatural, social, pretty much, can speak for itself. You are forgiving people in your life, having some forbearance, and we'll talk about that, and just some understanding, but also putting up boundaries when you need to, you know. The other thing is self forgiveness. I think that's one of the hardest things to do is to forgive yourself. So think about that. You're worthy of forgiveness. And if you can't forgive yourself, then everywhere you go, there you are, right? So forgive yourself and love yourself. It's hard to do, but you can do it. So, yeah, so I basically touched on all of these three kinds of forgiveness that I found my research, my studying that I've been thinking about for actually 2 weeks ago. I think I was going to do this, but there's one is exoneration, which is wiping the slate clean. There's forbearance, which is giving grace to someone, especially if you value the relationship and you kind of overlook things, and kind of work through things with them. And there's release. And that's the thing I really want to focus on. And that's why I named this forgiveness obligation or gateway to freedom. And this type of forgiveness doesn't really require actual forgiveness. It doesn't require exoneration or even forbearance. It requires just you releasing it into, the nebula, right? Not holding on to the hurt anymore. And I'm getting really sorry. I'm getting emotional because I know some of you in the chat personally have gone through hell. I've gone through hell, and thinking about Miriam as well, you know, thinking about Miriam and the hell that she's gone through, you know, it's just so many survivors in here of horrific abuse. And I would never tell anybody to forgive their perpetrator. I would never tell anyone, "Oh, it's okay, just forgive them," and turn the other cheek. And that's not up to me. I mean, if you believe in that, that's totally fine. But I wouldn't tell anyone that they have to forgive an abusive person 7 times, let alone 77 times, or um, you know, turn the other cheek or be a doormat. That's not my bag. But I found a lot of release and just a lot of freedom and not holding on to bitterness. And I still have work to do. I really do. There's people in my life that I kind of avoid that looking on the outside, it would be like, Marilyn, that person is your relative and they love you, or they say they love you, and you should, at least give them the time of day. And I have a really hard time doing it. And not that they're even a threat to me now that I'm an adult, but it's really hard to break the ice on that. So, yeah, I guess, I'm still working on it. I'm still working on the release, but it was just very freeing to realize that I don't necessarily have to, um, wipe the slate clean or even deal with them all the time, you know? Um, you don't have to put yourself in a position of being a victim or a doormat. You can put up boundaries and still forgive, and or still just release yourself from it and have freedom and not hold on to the bitterness so you can move on. Oh, All right. I'm just gonna some great comments I've seen fly by, and I definitely want to read as many as possible. As my absolute favorite part of doing any of these live streams, that's why I love to do live streams. And I don't besides that, I don't know the first thing about editing, but I love to do live streams because I really like to interact with you all. So I don't have a lot started, but I'm gonna start as many as I can. Sage of Flonase, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Basically, one major mess up, but not only one. Mm. What? Oh yeah, you get one major mess up, only one. Yeah, I hear you. I hear you. Yeah, definitely. Cause for pause, right? If oh, I always say like don't ignore red flags. So if somebody shows you who there's so many like what do you call it? Like not cliches, but uh ad what do you call adages or whatever. Like yeah, if someone shows you who they are, believe them. Like you might need to put up some boundaries, or you might need to be like, I need to kind of keep my distance, and that's okay. Yeah. Right. It's not a religion. Scientology is a criminal enterprise operating as a for profit business, masquerading as a religion. You got it. Bingo. Bingo. Kayla, comment. Now, you know I would have something to say about this. Yes, I knew you would. Yes. And that was one of the reasons why I had tears in my eyes. I will just say forgiveness is for yourself, not the other person. 100%. I believe that as well. Yeah, I do believe that. I'm just scrolling up a little bit to make sure I didn't miss anything, but I probably will. And I apologize. Okay. Give me one sec. I'm almost caught up. Okay. I got quite a few here, so I'll run through these. Harry J. That's why I asked for clarification from Aaron Smith Levin last night. She wasn't just there to observe, she took an active part. Yeah, so she was part of, as far as I know, um, she's been was allegedly part of that mob that was kind of out there. I don't know if she was actively bullying or intimidating the person, but her presence there with the mob and standing, with them that were intimidating her, I think is not okay. And her apology was really a non-apology, in my opinion. Melissa Harris, it's hard to forgive someone when they act as though they aren't really sorry, just sorry they were called out. Yeah. Yeah, I had a situation this week where that kind of happened, I think, and the person got really really defensive, and I didn't go to them and be like, you did this to me. It was more like they came to me about another thing, brought something up, and it just and I was like, whoa, where did this come from? I just kind of lost it on them. And they got really defensive, and one thing led to another. And then I found myself asking for forgiveness for my reaction to them, but they never apologized for what they actually did. And they just made excuses. And so, they ended up actually blocking me. So I was like, well, what do I do with this? I'm going to have to just let it go. And I do care about the person. And I hope someday, we can talk again and maybe even be friends again. But I'm definitely going to be cautious because the behavior was not cool. So, yeah, I can see what you mean because I don't think this person even sees what they did, let alone being sorry about it. Keela, comment, my child SA abuser lived in my head so long, I decided I had to let it go. I don't think I call it forgiveness, but it's not controlling me now. And I had to be in the same room 4 months ago. I know, honey. Well, Yeah, that's why I kind of liked that. I liked it where it said release, because it doesn't, and that it doesn't require, sorry, my nose itches, I don't know why. Um, it doesn't require actual forgiveness or forbearance. You're just letting it go. And you're just being like, okay, I'm not carrying this anymore. And it releases you from the pain, you know? And I think that's a step to healing as well. James Steele, I will never forgive the Catholic Church or my brother. Fair enough. I get it. Eat more pizza now. I wasn't raised to forgive. I've had to learn to forgive. Yeah, I understand that. CC, comment, education and self-correction is everything. The way to peace and happiness. You've come so far. Happy for you. Thank you. Gillen McDonald, appointed by God, then he would have no reason for needing forgiveness because he wouldn't act like that. Yeah, right. Right. But it was like, well, it didn't matter what he did because he was anointed of God. And oh my God. Ugh, just burns my biscuits thinking about it. But I let it go. I let it go. It more another thing, it more pissed me off of how he treated Duncan, this guy. He just was awful and awful, awful, awful person. Ugh. Melissa Harris, if Emily were truly sorry, she would call the Jane Does and tell them herself, but she can't because she's a Scientologist, right? And they're considered SPs. Hmm. Yeah, I really do hope she comes around, and I would love to see her leave Scientology with her mom, you know, and her sister, or whoever else is still in. Because I think that it could happen, definitely. Kathy Scoggins, comment, I'm old now and my grace is in short supply. I use it for those that are sincere and show it in their actions, not words. Yeah, yeah. And I'll tell you, I mean, I'm just going to put it out there. Sometimes it's just fucking annoying to me when somebody is like, well, they had a hard life. And then you get to the whole thing that, like what Carrie J was saying about perpetrators being also victims, and sometimes it just feels like, oh well, you're supposed to just forgive them or just say, oh, it's fine because they're a victim even though they're perpetrating on people. I don't think one they go hand in hand, as far as just because they're a victim doesn't mean that they shouldn't be held accountable, and I totally understand that. Like I get angry when it's like, well, just have grace, give grace. Like I said, my kid is being like bludgeoned, and having I I've laughed because I have a dark sense of humor, but yeah, it's just he comes out with covered in blood. I don't think it was okay, it wasn't covered in blood, but it was pretty bad. It was pretty shocking. And I don't think it wasn't that Austin had to, because I hadn't taught him, because we left the cult when he was young. He was like 5, 6 years old. I think he was 6 years old. And so, I mean, at that point, he was like 13, 14. He didn't have to turn the other cheek, but he did in a way, in essence. And it really helped me to kind of let it go and show a little mercy too, you know, little grace, show a little grace. Yep. But no one is in any obligation to do that. And even in this space, there's times when, things burn my biscuits and yeah, I gotta let them go. But there's times when, I think there's a time when it's okay to speak out as well. And everybody has to make that decision themselves and bear the consequences of it, which there are things like trolls, that happen when you speak out, when you're, trying to be a quote truth teller at times. And then there's other people who's like, oh, don't rock the boat. Don't take sides. Don't speak out. We're all on the same, team and all that. And that to me sometimes just, irks me because it's like, who are you to tell me to not talk about stuff? You don't have to talk about stuff, but don't be hopping in everyone's chat telling everybody else to be quiet. You know what I mean? So anyways, yeah. I just that burns my biscuits because I don't think that that's right. I don't think it's right to not be able to, speak your truth if you feel like you need to. So that's been one of my things that I've been kind of harping on. And I've had to let that go. I've let it go, and I'm just like, listen, whatever they want to, you do you, boo, right? Like Natalie says, a much happier place to be. Not to say I won't speak out when I feel like I need to. Too. Kayla McDonald, I just don't want anyone living rent free in my head. Yeah, which seems to be happening a lot lately. Yeah, I hear you. I hear you, honey. Hey, pause for Andrea. Replay crew. Awesome. Thank you for stopping by. Cricket Cinema. If I ever want to employ any part of Sciento that actually makes sense, I'll ask my therapist to use cognitive behavioral therapy. It's the best thing Hubbard stole and no call. Yeah, well, he stole a lot of things and twisted it and added to it, took away important things. So, yeah. Eat more pizza now. Thank you so much for the super chat. Pizzas rule. Pizza rules. It does. Now I want pizza. Only when someone asks for forgiveness, repairs the damage, and never does it again can I forgive. Blanket requests mean nothing to me. I like that. Yeah, that makes sense. I know. Yeah. I think there's a there's that blanket thing that says forgiveness, but it's not that easy, and it's not that simple. It's very complicated. And I agree. If someone actually says they're sorry and shows it, show me that you're sorry. And also bringing in trust. How can you trust someone if they keep doing it again? You know? So I agree. Yeah. Jersey Jan. Comment. I'm so glad you mentioned you haven't forgiven Marlene. I still don't forgive those that caused my disconnection with family. Sometimes I feel bad about that. Sometimes I don't. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. Marlene's definitely not sorry because she's still influencing people in a bad way. Particularly one example I can think of at the top of my head from recent times is a friend of mine that was in the cult, now is out. He's an adult. He's getting married soon to a man. And he's lives in a different state, so I won't be going. But his mom, of course, was invited. She's still in the cult and she's refusing to go because according to him, Marlene's influencing her. I mean, Marlene's 85, I think, now. And he said to me, my mom is still letting an 85-year-old woman, this old woman, influence her to not go to my wedding. And he feels so betrayed. And I don't blame him. I would too. And it's not right. It's like, I think she's going to really regret that. It's just so sad. But yeah, I don't forgive her. I don't. But it's like, I'm not walking around like, oh, fuck Marley, angry at her all the time. And I think that's the difference is like, no, what she did was not okay. I don't feel sorry for her. I don't forgive her. But at the same time, I'm not walking around like stewing about her all the time, and letting that um, permeate me or define me. So I've let it go as far as like, yeah, I'll move on. I'll be happy. That's the best revenge, right? Is success and happiness. And I'll just, sit here with my dung heap behind me and yeah, just be happy. Mm. Yeah, Stasia, I work with someone who has a negative personality. It's so hard not to I think you might call them out. Yeah. Yeah, that's it's funny because there's somebody, okay, it was one of my kids. um He tends to hold on to things sometimes, and not really to me, but just kind of this, just floating, negativity to sometimes. And then sometimes he's like that little nursery rhyme. It's like about the little girl with the little curl. They're like, there was a little girl who had a little curl right in the middle of her forehead. When she was good, she was very, very good. But when she was bad, she was horrid. And that's kind of like one of my children. He's not a girl. He doesn't have a curl in the middle of his forehead, but he is just such a delightful person. So funny and cool and like tough. He's got an edge. If you know my kids at all, you know who I'm talking about. But then there's times when it's just like everybody just hit the deck. I'm in a bad mood. And it's like sometimes he's not even mad at anything particular, but I have compassion on him because he was born with a birth defect and he had tons and tons of surgery. He's been through the ringer and he is so smart and so talented and such a hard worker and just a good person that I can overlook the moody, the little, the little negative shit he can be sometimes, but he can also be just so delightful as well. So, I think that's where the forbearance and all of that comes in, the grace comes in, because if it's a relationship that you really value and that he's not doing it to hurt me or anybody else. It's just he's working out. I think we all have what they say demons, right? I I'm not triggered by that anymore. I used to be triggered like, "Oh, you're fighting your demons." Because I had actual demons. I probably still do. As far as my cult was concerned, I had lots of demons. But yeah, just having compassion for people um if they are just struggling and they snap at you. That's not something that I think is unforgivable, especially if it's someone you really love. And like your kids, unconditional love is, I think, pretty much a prerequisite of being a halfway decent parent or a halfway decent friend. So, George Massey, I will give grace for people's past acts if they repent. If they repent. But it's another word that was a big word in our cult. But when they continue that bad behavior, if refuse to change, I'm done. Yeah, absolutely. Because they're not really sorry. Right. Um, Funny that I always think of like the word clearing, by the way, is repent. I can't remember the word in the Greek, but I remember the definitions. And the definition was to basically do a 180, to change your mind. It meant repent means to change your mind or change your mindset. And that does make sense, right? To if you have done something to hurt someone or something terrible or even committed a crime and you're going to be reformed or you're sorry and you're asking for forgiveness, you've changed your mind about that. You realize it was wrong and you're not going to do it anymore. Not that you are just like, oh shit, I got caught. I better apologize. I'm sorry. And then you do it again. You know, it's you actually have a different mindset about it and you change your mind. So I thought that's a good way. It's a good word, even though I didn't like it sometimes, but wonder where the word forgive. Yeah, forgive. I don't know. I didn't get that far, but that's a good thing to look up. Welcome to the den. Yeah. I know I've had people coming in and out. I like how people just come in and check in. It's like the water cooler or the front porch. I have a front porch. I should take a picture of it for you guys. And my kids joke there's they send me these funny little videos like shorts and everything. And then there's this guy sitting on his mom's porch and he's got like a beer in his hands. He's like calling out to everybody walking by or driving by. He's like, "Hey, come on over, man. I'm porch drinking with my mom." So Carter, my little funny feisty little shit, we're kind of like twins. He comes on my porch and is like, "Hey everybody," and there's nobody to call out to except for the moose and bear or whatever. The birds like, "Hey everybody, come on down, I'm pork drinking with my mom," and we're not even necessarily drinking, we're just drinking tea or coffee or something. But yeah, I don't know how I got into that. But yeah, it's like, "Hey, wipe your feet, come on into the den." I just love when people pop in and say hello. I love it, love it. Hey, Mama Mai Sharona. Hey there. Sometimes not forgiving propels us to do better. You can let go of some of the things because they hold you back, but blanket forgiving could be harmful to your growth, in my opinion. Forgive when it's healing. Yeah, I like that. That does make sense. Yeah, and in a I was thinking about Miriam's open letter to Emily, because you could hear the compassion in, in that letter, but also saying that's not okay, and I hope that you can come to terms with that and speak, only Miriam can say it, but it was like, I hope you will do better, you know, and think about this. And it wasn't, you know, hurling insults at her or forcing her. It was like painting the picture of, this is how I see it. This is what happened. And I hope that you can come to terms with it and admit that you're wrong, and do better and renounce this horrible cult. That would be great. Yes, Miriam's powerful, eloquent letter is so impressive. Absolutely. Cece, education and self-correction is everything, the way to peace and happiness. You've come so far. Oh, I think I already read that one, but I really liked it. So I came across it again because I unstarred some things. All right. Trying to just let's see. Lena, comment regarding forgiveness. I've been through the journey therapy, forgiven persons and their souls who've done SA and other abuse in my childhood, but never the actions. Today I can speak with no bitterness. That's great. Yeah, that makes total sense. Yeah, and like Killa said, forgiveness in that case is more for you than for that person. Not acceptance, I don't think. I had to call him dad because he was a step parent from adoption. Too many years of it. I just didn't want to control my emotions any longer. He had the call on his side. Yeah. Yeah. It just releasing it and not letting him rent space in your head, right? Or live in your head rent free, even more so. Hey, Evil Blue Eye, good to see you. Been a little while. Rika, hi there. Rika, gentle hugs and good vibes to anyone who needs it. We are healing and growing. Absolutely. I love that. Oh, I can hear the troops coming in. Oh, funny. They're coming in for lunch. So we got, I think Dunk has my son-in-law, Rob, and Carter helping him today. So they're probably coming in for lunch. So I should wrap this up pretty soon. Mischiefs manages biscuits were burning earlier. Hurt people, my ass. Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely not an excuse. I mean, I think it's a true statement, but it's not okay, you know? Right. Kathy Scoggins, Keela, hurt people should know not to hurt people. Yeah. Yeah, because if you know how it feels, then you shouldn't do it, right? Yeah. Oh, this is a really good comment. When something from Sharona, when some something someone said or did to you has so much power over you that it's continuing to damage you, letting it go takes away their power over you. Always try to take your power back. Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. Right. And I always had this saying with my kids. I was like, a shitty past doesn't give you an excuse to be a shitty person. And it's something I really try to live by, is like, I don't use my past as a reason to carry around my baggage, my bitterness, or throw it on other people, or hurt other people because I've been hurt, you know. And you said it so much better. Mr. Minute, oh, said you want out? Yes. Call the SBTV Foundation. There you go. Awesome. Jersey Jan, moving on and having a successful life is the best way to move on and prove others don't have power over you any longer, right? Yeah. I think that's the best vindication is Success and happiness, right? You hear those doors opening and closing, or is it just me? I don't know. I think I have the noise cancellation up, but to me, it sounds like a herd of elephants or bull in a china shop. See you later, Joel. Thank you for being here. Hey, Susie Q. Good to see you. My family is totally fractured, but I can't talk to the people I don't talk to because they twist everything I say and do until it does not reflect reality. Sounds like gaslighting. Yeah. They say, yet they have no insight into themselves. Yeah. Sounds like gaslighting and a little bit narcissism, maybe. I mean, I'm no doctor, I'm no psychologist, but um, yeah, I think self awareness and coming to terms with things and not throwing it on other people, not gaslighting people, doing the Darvo dance. Yeah, I don't blame you for putting up boundaries. Absolutely. Either Atkins in Texas. Good to see you. Glad you're here, or we're here. Cats, bats, and flowers. Hi there. My mother in law lives by the phrase, it's just my way, with a nasty giggle. However, if she thinks you looked at her funny, years later, she may forgive you. Oh, right. You just my way. Yeah. Yeah. It's not really an excuse, is it? You know? Like, oh, that's just how he is. Oh, yeah. Oh my God. I've heard that so many times. Especially dealing with people that are you kind of have to deal with because you're at least peripherally related to, or have to see. And it's like, oh, that's just their way. And it's like, oh, that's really hard because sometimes I feel like I do need to say something, or at least, and some people don't take hints. Um, can you relate to that? Kind of what Susie Q was saying is that if someone's not self-aware, maybe they can't even take a hint. It's like, come on, it should be obvious, but I guess it's not. Oh, pigs is pigs. Oh my gosh, my mom said that poem all the time when I was little. Had forgotten all about that. Thanks for the mom memory. Oh, the little girl with the curl. I just thought that was really cute, and I used to say that to my child. All right, it's Carter. I just love him to pieces, though, and he's helping his dad. See, he's a good boy. Oh, I hear him. I don't think he heard me though. Sharona, I worked so hard to not be a negative Nelly. I spent months reading and contemplating positive quotes to change my brain. It's so much nicer looking at the bright side instead of living in the negative. Yeah, I hear you. That's awesome. Oh, and look, Kathy Scoggins agrees. She says that's awesome too. Like, hey, pepperoni nips. Good to see you. Forgive, but don't forget. Yeah. I think trust and forgiveness goes hand in hand. And if you forgive someone, you don't necessarily have to trust them because they've shown you who they are. So yeah, it's a choice. It's completely up to you. You're under no obligation to forgive anyone. That's how I feel. Anyways, Sharona, in the middle of this exercise of changing my brain, I found a coffee cup that said, "Change your thinking, change your world." Think happy thoughts. There you go. Yeah. It helped me so much to keep on that journey. Awesome. Yeah, that's it. Oh my god. I gotta find that. I wonder if Carter would know what it is. Maybe even if you just looked it up on YouTube. But yeah, it was just this guy on his porch drinking. I think I just fell in love with Carter a little bit. He is funny as hell. I mean, Kelly can tell you. They got along great. He's just really, really funny. He's just he's a character, as they say. Um, Pepperoni nips. Miriam has a superpower writing talking skills. She is amazing. She absolutely is. Yes. I could listen to her all day. It's true. Total gaslighting. 2 cents. Yeah. Nope. That's not going to cut it. Hey, Brooke Elliott. Good to see you, darling. Glad you're here. Yeah, I'm actually winding down, but it was nice to hang out with y'all. I'm just gonna get caught up and then I'll have to fly because I got a house full of people now. Gotta find some lunch. Susie, nice to see you all. Been listening for a while. Well, as I do adulting. Yep. There's that adulting stuff we all gotta do. Kathy, Susie, oh, mischief. As you get older, you're not as sensitive. Just don't lose your empathy. It's a fine line to walk. Yeah. Life is a balance, isn't it? Adulting is way overrated. I agree. Susie Q, same age as me, 53, and I've gotten more sensitive. I think it's because of complex PTSD getting worse and worse. I experienced more traumas. Oh, no, wait. Oh, yeah. I feel you. I think after a certain age, you actually get more sensitive. Yeah, I don't know. I I've always been kind of sensitive, so I'm trying to get less sensitive, but it's not working very well for me. Yeah. Carrie J, some people think saying sorry is all that's necessary. They say she apologized. What more do you want? Yeah. Yeah. What more do you want? Maybe show that you're actually sorry. You know? Okay. Wow, it's good to hang out with you all. I'm glad we spent at least an hour and something together this Sunday morning. And I will definitely be seeing you this week. So just some programming notes for this next week. The video that we've been working on, George Massey. Gotta give props to George Massey. It's not a big secret who's working on this video to send to the representatives, but we're not putting any credits in it. But I really do want to give a lot of credit to George Massey. We've got Mischief Managed had been working on it, and Susie Oberholtz, and I don't want to leave anybody out. Stay Spiria, definitely. Liz Gales did the audio, and we're packaging it all up with a bow and sending it off to Kelly Copter to do her magic. So I'm really, really excited. We'll let you know as soon as the video drops. And in the meantime, if you want to subscribe to at Scientology, The Real Truth, real being spelled REEL. If one of the mods doesn't mind putting the link in the chat, that would be awesome. If you can hop over there and subscribe and put on your notifications, you'll know as soon as the video drops. And I would love to see as many of our U.S. residents here in this whole space send a letter, an email, a snail mail to the representative. If you want to include this link to the video, I think it's going to be awesome to just give them like a 10-minute or so overview of why Congress should care, why the American people should care, and in a lot of cases do care. So yeah, if you want to subscribe to that, that would be awesome. And all right, everybody, thank you so much for being here, and I will see you soon. Bye. Zenu, Marlene, everybody partake. Cheers. This is good coffee. This is why, my hubby makes the coffee.